Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is the first bit of content I've done on style, I believe, in the whole of this channel. I've been recently doing a 365 project, one video a day for a year, and I geared it towards self-improvement. However, in the last year or so, I personally have pivoted towards one niche subject within self-improvement, and that has been fixing everyone's style. I launched a website called thehatfish.com back in December of last year. And last month I started offering coaching one-on-one and I've had several clients already. Now I'm going to pivot this YouTube channel towards style content. And to start with, I think what I'm going to do is go over some of my favorite blog articles that I've written in the past 6 or 7 months. And this is my favorite one, I believe. This is like one of my overarching kind of principles with regards to style as it relates to men in their self-improvement journeys. A lot of the guys I've worked with so far have come from the forums or from Kill You and Loser's coaching group that he has. And most of those guys, like in the early days, they're trying to fix all the areas of their life so that they can enjoy to the best, like dating, their health, all that stuff. And a while ago, I did a analysis, I guess, of the intro thread on the forums where guys show up and say what their goals are. And I noticed that quite a significant percentage, like 20%, said fixing style. And that was sort of the beginning of me deciding to pivot more towards an area like this because I have a passion for it. I've done the best I can to fix my own style. I've helped a lot of guys in this specific area. So I decided this would be the best way forward in terms of setting up my own thing. And I'm very happy with the blog. I think I've written some good stuff, but I just haven't had enough output. So now we're going to do YouTube. Anyway, all that preamble aside, let's talk about my favorite article, which is drastically changing your style will feel weird at first. And this comes from an experience I had starting out. So about 2.5 years ago, I went to Melbourne, Australia to meet Andy, also known as Kill You and Loser. And the whole point of this was that I was sick of the results I was getting from dating, from meeting girls, and I wanted to speak to someone who was way far ahead of me and would help me sort that area of my life out. And I rocked up to that meeting dressed like absolute trash. I had holes in my t-shirt, like Andy likes to remind people. I dressed completely, everything was out of style, nothing fit me properly. And the first thing he said was like, you need to go and get better clothes. Like, this is one of the first things you need to fix is get better clothes. And so I was in such an action-taking mode that I immediately went out after our meeting and bought clothes. Like I bought a cool hat, I bought a Sherpa denim jacket, which probably was still one of the coolest things I've ever bought, and it means a lot to me, that piece of clothing. And from there, I'd basically in a couple of days transformed my fashion into what I thought a guy that gets laid a lot looks like. And from there as well, I was also learning how to day game and cold approach. And so I had to start talking to girls dressed in this new fashion. And that was a surprisingly hard mental block for me. It was surprisingly difficult for me to feel comfortable in those new clothes. The clothes that I had personally picked out thinking that they were what I wanted, like what I aspired to look like and dress was what I was behind my thinking with those clothes. And yeah, it was a really tough first couple of weeks, like getting used to wearing that stuff. And small things like chains. I never used to wear like pendant chains or ever want to. I never used to wear rings. These are just things I never used to wear. I never used to wear hats either. I would just walk around with my terrible hairline, my terribly diffused thinning hair, and just thought that was okay. My presentation was okay. People are gonna love me for who I am inside, all that. It's not even that. It's not even that I justified my bad presentation. It's that I didn't care enough. I didn't take myself seriously enough to put any effort into it. But then trying to become someone who did, it's not as simple as flicking a switch. So the actionable advice I give for this is merely go outside on every opportunity wearing your new clothes. Once you've figured out what kind of style you want to go for, you have to get used to wearing those clothes. You have to wear them in, not just physically, not wear them in as in you got to fit into them better. Wear them so that your mental state catches up with your new presentation. You've got to become the person who wears those clothes. And that's going to take a little bit of time, especially when it comes to wearing clothes that makes you look more attractive. You have to get used to being people stealing second glances at you, people reacting better to you. And obviously that's very good positive reinforcement. You want that. I've spoken to guys who've fixed their style, guys that I've even helped personally, and they talk about how like they saw girls checking them out all of a sudden that hadn't been before, just because they fixed their presentation. And I'm really big on this idea that everyone will get a lot out of fixing their style and presentation. Like a lot of you are very good looking guys who are fucking yourselves with terrible presentation. Just a few small fixes, a few accessories, the right grooming, the right just better basic and outerwear choices, and you will like your results, or like the way the world reacts to you will just increase for the better by so much more than you could ever imagine. It's one of those things, like I used to say to Andy, like before the style stuff, I was like, it was more about just like looks. Like guys who have never looks maxed and got better looking don't understand how much better your life becomes because of it. I hope this has made some sense. I hope you get something out of the fact that I was also someone who dressed terribly and didn't take their presentation seriously, and I fixed myself. Anyone can do this. You don't have to be elite to dress well. Anyone is able to go and buy, pretty much anyone is able to go and buy the clothes necessary to look great and present themselves as someone who's attractive and the world should take seriously.